Hi everyone. I'm Wally. That's Brennan, and
Yes, I am.
this is ship roasting with Wally and Brennan.
Ship
I'm
roasting.
very excited to start a podcast.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
I've had a podcast before. It's usually just me, which is usually just ranting. But this time, I invited my good friend Brennan to the podcast. Brennan, if you would like to introduce yourself and plug your channel, or
Sure, yeah. As he said, I am Brennan. I have a YouTube channel that is not Brennan. Brennan, am the one who hosts it, but when I'm on there, I am not Brennan. I am a YouTube channel. So if you want to check it out, go ahead and check it out. It's pretty cool. I do some magic, talk about some things, and yeah.
yeah, the link will be down in the description for that, for sure. So today, so actually, Lily, this podcast we called it ship roasting, just as like a background because we used to have fires like all the time. Our squad, and
Yep.
Brennan had the great idea is like, what if I take this chip and put it in the fire, and
There are people who roast marshmallows all the time. I was like, forget marshmallows. What about roasting chips?
exactly, that's put the chip in the fire and let the fire do its magic, and truly, it did its magic, and thus the hashtag chip roasting 2015 5 years ago
Oh yes.
that
Oh
took
yes.
off. And Brennan, did I not tell you that chip roasting 2020 would return?
Oh yes. Oh
So
yes. And
I
here we
mean, here we
are,
are. Exactly.
5 years later. One more global pandemic than we had at that point.
Yeah.
Roasting some more chips in a podcast
Yeah.
format.
Exactly. Because doing it social distancingly in the 85-degree weather would not be ideal. Maybe we'll wait till it gets a little
Yes.
colder if
Yes.
we do that. So basically, what we're going to talk about today is we're gonna talk about what's coming up with Marvel, because both
Oh
of us big
yes.
Marvel fans.
Oh
Um,
yes. And yeah, just kind of figured if the internet needs one more thing right now, it needs two more dudes talking about Marvel movies. So here we are.
exactly, just more speculation. At least we're at
Yes.
least we're not
Yes.
at least we're not out here claiming to be like insiders. Like, oh, this person is gonna come up in this movie, confirmed. And
Oh
we, even though
yes.
we have absolutely no ties to Marvel whatsoever, we cannot confirm anything.
Yes.
So we're just gonna talk about it. And I mean, I guess we are gonna speculate, but we're not gonna like start rumors.
Sure. Except for, I have heard that Mark Hamill is going to play every single role in the Fantastic Four movie. So,
I mean, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. Mark
oh
Hamill,
yes.
Fantastic
Yep.
Four. That's clickbait title. There you go.
Yes.
It's just start us like Mark Hamill,
Absolutely.
Fantastic Four. Anyway, so from that we will transition into the Phase Four, and the first, and we're in September, and um, clearly the global pandemic has pushed everything back. So we
Oh
have not
yes.
gotten Black Widow or was it Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, although I think I heard somewhere that's going to be released soon still. I'm not sure if there's like a set release date yet, but
Yeah,
apparently, although because I was like, I know like a couple months ago, I noticed that like their filming was put on hold, so I don't know
hmm
if they ever finished shooting the series or if they're just
yeah.
kind of
I saw online. And I guess here we go with the speculation. I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
online that they started a couple weeks ago, like a week or week and a half ago. They restarted filming, and they only had like 2 weeks of filming left. So like
Oh,
I'm
all
sure they're
right.
almost done with
All
that.
right.
So hopefully we're gonna get that soon because I'm really excited for that series and who it
Yes.
introduces. Um, I know for a fact that because just from pictures from it all is that they're gonna introduce like instead of giving the Falcon the Captain America thing right off the bat, they're gonna go with what's his name, U.S. agent as the government appointed Captain
Oh,
America.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that'll be interesting because well, with the have you read the comics at all?
Not in depth at all. I only have like a broad knowledge of the comics. I've read some stuff here and there, but not a whole lot.
Uh-huh. So I just started reading the comics just because I finished all the Marvel movies and I went through some of the TV shows and some of them were okay, and I was just like I need more Marvel content, so I went and there's an app that has like 26,000 comics on it or whatever.
Oh, wow.
I haven't been reading like anything that they're going to take, like any source material they're going to take from. I've been reading more the new ones. but from my understanding, U.S. Agent in the comics, I think, even took over for Steve Rogers, or was like a
Huh.
rival to Steve Rogers, like, and wanted to be Captain America, but he thought Captain America was too soft because he wouldn't kill people.
Oh,
So
okay.
it'll be an
Okay.
interesting dynamic there with
Okay.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and I've kind of like vaguely heard of U.S. Agent, but for maybe some of our listeners who have not, like, what exactly is like kind of was he? I guess you kind of just briefly described it, but did
Yeah,
like a logo or motto? Did he exist before Captain America or?
yeah. So he was basically this guy who like really liked he looked up to Captain America, and so because of that, he went into the military, and he tried to do all these, and he got real buff, and I think they tried a super soldier serum on him, and it didn't
Oh,
work
okay.
quite as well as Captain America's because
Okay.
it never does
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
comics.
Long list of
Um,
people who have
oh
all
yeah,
tried the serum and
oh
just
yeah,
nope.
it just never works. But
Yeah, yeah.
it worked.
Worked once.
It
Yeah.
worked to an extent on him, I believe, and so basically he became like the new kind of. You know how in the Captain America movie he was like the showpiece Captain America.
Yes,
So that's kind of
yes.
what he became, and then
Okay.
he hired these guys to play behind him who were like who were supposed to be Captain America, and he would fight them during the show. And Captain
Huh.
America would be like, "Hey, could you like not do that? You're like, giving me a bad image." And he's like, "Screw you, Steve
Okay.
Rogers." And then that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
how like
yeah.
the whole thing, how they became kind of rivals. Um, so he starts off as a bad guy, and then I think he progressively becomes a good guy. But so that's where we're going to start there. But in the movie, in the cinematic universe, they're going to have the government pick a replacement for him, and that's going to be U.S. Agent.
Interesting. So they'll kind of have probably a little bit of like a rivalry there, where like the Falcon is supposed to be the new Captain America,
Yeah,
and kind of like
yeah. It's like this
their
is my
eyes, and then yeah, but the government's saying no, this is Captain America now.
right,
So
right, right. Um,
yeah, and I also heard about that series. I'm pretty sure that the villain from Civil War is supposed to be the villain
yeah,
for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Zemo, I think his name is.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
I hope.
I'm excited for that because I really liked him in
Mhm.
Civil War, but it's such kind of a small role, and it was kind of like not the typical Marvel villain.
Right.
So I'm excited to see kind of what they do with him, and
Hmm.
that's
Yeah, I agree. They just kind of like they had him play such a huge role, but they didn't really go into like what his role was in Civil War. He was just kind of like in the
yeah,
back, kind of
yeah,
like almost like a puppet master kind of thing.
exactly, yeah. Because like with like most Marvel movies, there's like like the big bad where you can just see and it's like this
Like,
huge deal
yeah,
and they're
like the
causing explosions.
visible.
He was
Yeah.
just in the back, and it's almost when you think about Civil War. Most times I don't even like remember him specifically, just kind of the whole
Right.
conflict thing. I'm like, oh yeah, he was kind of back there, like doing the whole like puppet master type thing,
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
making them
Just
all turn against each other. So
mhm.
I'm
Like,
really
and
excited to see
they
how he
gave
ends
him
up being the.
his confrontation in the movie a little bit. Like when they were in that the old Hydra base, where they're like, "Oh, look at this here. Here's a video," and then, like he runs off,
Yes,
and then that's
yeah.
when like uh, Iron Man finds out that Bucky killed his parents, and then there's that awesome
Oh
fight scene.
yes.
But like after that, it's just like here's Zemo. The good part about that was that they didn't kill him off like they do with every other villain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I
So
guess
he's
except
so
Red
he's
Skull,
around for
who's
the series.
stranded on Vormir.
Oh yeah, which like some people have called it like fan service or whatever, but I really like that twist when I saw that. And oh,
Yeah,
was that Infinity War or Endgame when he was
I
in?
was.
That was
He was
Infinity
in
War, right?
both. He was in both. We
Yeah,
found
yeah,
out
yeah,
he
yeah.
was there in Infinity War.
Yeah, it was Infinity War was the
Yeah,
first thing, and like when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, I've been waiting like
to figure
whatever,
out
like
what
12
happened to
years
him.
for that.
Right,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like you saw that he had the what's not the cosmic cube. It's a completely different thing. But you saw he had that the I cannot remember the name of it, and like he grabbed onto it, and then he just like was
Oh
zipped
yeah,
into
yeah,
outer
yeah,
space
yeah,
at the end of
and
Captain
like Captain
America
America.
before he
Yeah,
crashed the ship.
the Tesseract.
Thank you, the
Yes.
Tesseract. Cosmic
Yeah.
Cube is a completely different thing, which
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
they've really introduced in Marvel yet. But
No,
and then he
I
just
don't think
zips
so.
away, and like that's the end of Red Skull. It's like, hold on, wait, where
Yep.
did he go? And then we
Yep.
got that answered. So
Oh
there's
yes.
that. The next thing is there's not really much to say about Black Widow. Other than that,
No, I am looking forward to that movie
mhm.
a lot though, just because like with like how like in-game ended and stuff. It's just the universe is very large now, in my opinion. So it's
Yes,
kind of difficult to do like little small pieces now. But
right,
by placing Black Widow before like Infinity War and all of that, like I am really looking
hmm
forward to kind of like pre-crisis or whatever,
right,
like
yeah, yeah,
movies
yeah.
like that, where it's kind of like a movie about an established character going on a little small adventure.
Hmm
Because I'm not sure how many more movies we'll get like that
right.
now that the
Now that they've
entire
built this whole big thing, yeah, it's 23
exactly
movies worth.
exactly.
Um, I know it introduces I can't remember her actual name, but she's supposed to take over as Black Widow, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I had not heard that. It's like
Or at
her
least
like
she does in the comics. I don't know if she's going to in the movies. I'm
all
assuming they
right.
are since everyone's getting replaced. It seems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it, so uh, that's who we'll get. And then have you seen who the bad guy is in the movie? Have you seen any spoilers for that? Or like
I have not and
he's in the what's it called? The
oh
trailer.
wait. Oh yes. Yes. Yeah, I do remember that. It's Taskmaster, yes?
Yeah, I'm very
Okay.
excited to see what they do with Taskmaster because he's a really
Yes.
good villain. Hopefully they don't kill him like they do with everyone else.
Oh yes.
So no, yeah,
Yeah. That
Taskmaster
would
is
be unfortunate, yeah.
yeah. I'm because Taskmaster's a villain for so
Um
many characters. Like just to introduce him for
I'm
like a
definitely
one
hoping
shot
he
with
like sticks
yeah,
around.
just to kill him with for like a one shot with Black Widow would be just like well, why? What was the point? you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um.
Oh man.
So I think that's about everything that Black Widow has to offer. It's long overdue.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Oh yeah. This movie that people have been like talking about for a while. I
hmm
remember back like after the first Avengers film, I had some friends who were like, okay, when's like they got to have like a Black Widow movie now to
right?
kind of flesh out her character a bit more, like a Hawkeye movie. I know there's a Hawkeye TV show on the way, but I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
about a
replacing
new
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
Kate
yeah.
Bishop.
So
I'm not sure if that's Phase 4 or Phase 5, but yeah.
that's
Um,
the very end of Phase 4.
okay,
I think. I think
yeah,
it's like after the last Phase 4 movie gets released, they're doing Hawkeye,
Hawkeye. Okay,
or maybe it's right before the last movie. I don't know. It's
it's at
somewhere
the
around
end.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so then there's that. So then the next big thing is WandaVision, I believe.
Yes, yes.
Which
I'm maybe actually. I think before WandaVision comes out, I think Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings
oh really?
is
Okay,
being released.
because I
I think it comes out before.
okay because I had seen a couple things. Like one of them I saw was like apparently they moved WandaVision up to in front of Winter Soldier. So the reason I went with that next.
Oh, okay.
But I
Okay.
who knows? Like I don't who
Okay.
knows who's a reliable source and who's not at this point
Yeah, yeah. And
because there's
also
just so
with
many
like all
things out
the
there
yeah, and the movie and TV series kind of being rescheduled with release dates when
with
like the pandemic hit and they had to push Black Widow off. So I think Black Widow is getting released in like November
November.
now.
Hmm
So I know that I think was there anything supposed to be released in November?
I think it might have just been WandaVision because I know Shang Chi is at the end of the year or is at the beginning of
I
next year, or
oh
originally was.
the Eternals that was the other movie. I think the
Yeah.
Eternals was originally supposed to be released in November of
Okay.
this year, like when it was first announced.
Right.
But obviously, I think I think Black Widow took that spot. I think they're just shifting all the movies back one, which I know
Yeah.
for WandaVision, that's supposedly going to tie in heavily
To
with Doctor Strange and the
in the
Multiverse of
multiverse.
Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was originally supposed to be released like right before Doctor Strange. And like as soon as the last episode aired, they were going to put Doctor
Doctor
Strange in
Strange in the
theaters.
theaters.
So I don't
Okay.
know what I don't know what the plan I don't know what the plan for that is now, but
Right. Um,
it's I'm very excited to
I'm
see
so excited for that movie for that show.
Scarlet Witch's character fleshed out so much more because she's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Just like her whole arc.
We kind of got
Absolutely love
we
that.
kind of got a glimpse of her powers in Endgame when she goes up to
Oh
Thanos, and then that
yes.
meme happens. I don't even know who you are, and then she goes and just
Yes.
demolishes him. Up until
Yes.
he has the cannons rain down on her, so that
Uh-huh.
she would actually like not be holding him anymore. Because if they had used her actual powers, he would have died. I think
Oh
no doubt.
yes. Oh yes. And it's one of the cases in where she's still trying to like learn what her powers are. It's like
Right.
even she doesn't know that. Like you have a character like Thor, and obviously, like, I mean, he was still like learning about his powers
Right.
up until like in
Endgame,
Endgame,
yeah. I mean, he got
basically.
really
But
powerful in Infinity War just because he was just driven by rage.
oh yes, oh yes.
Because I think did we go through all of Ragnarok without really seeing him use his powers because he had no
At like the very
have his
end of
hammer.
Ragnarok is when he was like, "Oh, you can fly without your hammer" and all that stuff, and he
Okay, yeah.
kind of learned how to use his powers there. But it wasn't until like the last bit of Ragnarok when that all
Okay,
took place.
yeah, and then Ragnarok read right into
Um,
Infinity War. I watched those back to back for the first time over the summer. For anyone who
oh
doesn't
yeah.
know me, I watched Infinity War without watching anything after the original Avengers, except the Ant-Man
Oh man.
movies and the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So like I went into Endgame not knowing a damn thing. So I was very confused as to why Tony Stark was in space with Nebula. I had a general consensus about what had happened, but so this
Oh
summer
man.
during the whole quarantine thing is when I went through and I watched them all. So now I'm caught up and I'm very excited. But
Oh yes.
so yeah, the Wanderverse, I think. And did you see that they cast the Quicksilver that was Quicksilver in the X-Men movies?
Ooh, I did not.
Yeah. So the guy who
Oh
played
wow.
Quicksilver in the X-Men movies has been cast for WandaVision, which is interesting.
Ooh.
Which maybe that's how they're
So
going to connect the X-Men in the um,
it may be that they're going to
MCU.
start to dabble in like the multiverse and
Maybe yeah.
everything there.
Which is how they're
And
going to connect it with Doctor Strange.
yeah, yeah, because from what I hear, like I'm really trying my best to avoid spoilers about like overall plot and everything. Because I
Yeah.
when I watch movies, I love to just be caught off guard on every turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people like to kind of have a feel for what's happening, so then they can like get the most out of the twist. But I always get the most out of twists by just not even like
Right.
having any idea of them.
Well, that's what I liked about
But
Doctor Strange is that there were twists and turns in that, and not just the
oh
buildings
yes,
and their insane
oh
uh,
yes.
animations and stuff. But
But what I've heard about WandaVision is that something's going to happen where she's basically going to like tear a hole in the multiverse or something, and then
mhm,
Doctor Strange has to like repair all of that. So I'm very excited to
interesting.
kind of see more of that explored, especially because like if we actually get more of a multiverse type
Hmm.
thing, I know in Spider-Man there were some like jokes about it where like what was the dude's name? Oh, like Mysterio, how he was like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, I'm from another Earth, but then you're just making all of that up. So
Right, right.
if we actually get the multiverse now, it's definitely going to open up a lot more possibilities.
Well, and you
Um,
just, I mean, you reminded me of something else. Is that there's a whole nother universe in the whole nother cinematic universe they can tie into it that's going on right now, and that's the Spider-Man universe that Sony's doing
oh
because
yes,
they're releasing
yes,
Morbius sometime next year. And I think they're also
yes.
doing Crave. They want to do a Craven movie, and I know Olivia Wilde just got hired on to do a Spider Woman movie, whichever one she decides to choose. I don't
Oh,
know. Yeah,
i- interesting,
yeah, and
interesting.
there's plenty for her to pick from. I mean, there's Aranya, there's Spider Woman, Jessica Drew, there's Silk, there's how she could make a Mary Jane Watson um, Spider Woman if she wanted to. So
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
interesting to see what she does with that. But they can tie all
And
that in with the
also,
MCU. So
yeah, and like speaking of other current like Marvel universes going on, there's like the Spider Verse, like the animated one,
yeah,
which could also get some tie-ins too. Because I know that originally in the first Spider Verse movie, there was supposed to be a cameo from both Tom Holland
hmm
and
Andrew Garfield or
yeah, yeah, it
Tobey
may have
Maguire.
been.
Okay,
Maybe
interesting.
maybe it was all three of them even. I'm not sure. There was
Oh,
supposed to be a
okay,
cameo to like tie it back to like basically all the other like actual movie, I
right.
mean movie versions of Spider-Man that we've had. So
Interesting.
if they somehow tie in like everything, like they could do so much with like opening up the MCU to the multiverse.
Oh
That would
yes,
just be
which is what they play. Which
very
is clearly what they
neat.
plan on doing with just the name of the Doctor
Yeah.
Strange movie.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So
I hope the Doctor Strange movie is good because I heard that there was like a director who was hired
director
on.
change.
It was like a big deal. Everyone was very excited, and then all of a sudden that director was like, "I'm not doing this movie." So everyone's kind of
Yeah.
like, "What is going on with the movie that made a very good director just walk away?"
Yeah, so yeah, I saw that the original director of the first Doctor Strange movie, he was really excited about doing that, and then he just
Oh,
walked
okay. It
off,
was okay.
and just no didn't really give a reason
Interesting.
why, and now it's just like
Interesting.
because we know what happens
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
directors walk away. Sometimes we get the Good Dinosaur from Pixar, and it's like what the hell is this
Yes.
movie?
Oh yes.
um,
Um, but yeah, um, I guess skipping back a ways, one of the movies that I am the most excited for is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
yeah,
Just because the Ten Rings is one of the, like, in the
mm-hmm.
whole MCU, the Ten Rings was mentioned, like, as
Really
one of the
early on,
earliest
yeah,
parts. Yeah, yeah, in the first Iron Man film. Like, I
right.
think in the opening scene, even, it was like there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's part of
Um,
it's the terrorist organizations from the second and third one, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we might.
Well, y- yeah, the Ten Rings was not ultimately the terrorist organization in the third one, but
They had ties to it.
but like the fake Mandarin was using it as a scapegoat, I think.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, I
Hopefully, we
believe
get the
that's
real
what's.
Mandarin.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. This is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed
mm-hmm.
to have, from what I've heard. Again, this is all just speculation,
Speculation. We
but
said we weren't going to do this, but here we are doing this because
yes, just
that's all we have to work on right now.
exclusively speculation. Yes. Yeah, yeah. What I've heard is supposed to have like the real Mandarin as like the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that they include like the other, like the fake actor Mandarin from Iron Man 3 because I really liked his. He's a lot of people have been like, oh, I didn't like his part at all, but I loved his role in Iron
Yeah.
Man 3. I would love to see him back because
Well, they did a
there was
one
some
shot.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. There was some short in like the Thor 2 DVD or
Something
something.
like
I
that. Yeah.
think. Yeah, where it was like the real Mandarin kidnapping him from
Uh-huh.
his jail cell, and there was just such a good scene.
So if they could, if that's the
Um,
first thing right off the bat is like him pulling the actor's hat out of his bag and like it's the actual Mandarin,
oh yes,
that'd
oh
be
my
amazing.
goodness,
That'd be the greatest way to tie everything together, like from the Iron Man movies, kind of put some closure on that. That'd be
that would be
awesome.
so great. Yeah,
I
I'm very excited to see like Shang-Chi and stuff who
mhm.
isn't, someone that is like very like mainstream in the comics. I don't believe
Right.
I had
No.
never heard of him before. So
Hmm.
yeah, for this him getting a movie now, I'm like, this
He's
is
one
a
of those
very
street
good
level
sign to me.
heroes, kind of like the
Yeah, yeah,
Daredevils and
yeah.
the Jessica Joneses, Luke Cage,
Ooh,
Iron Fist.
yes.
Um, so I don't know all that much about Shang-Chi. Like, I mean, I've never really like dove into his comics or anything. So like, I'm very excited to see what they do with it. But
Yes.
the one thing I do know is that his father's name, and they can't do this now because the way culture has changed since the '60s. His name is I think it's Doctor Fu Manchu, and he's like this real
Oh,
stereotypical Asian guy. I don't think they could do
oh
that.
man. Yeah, yeah.
um, but I'm excited about that. Um,
Yeah.
and then the next one I think in line is the Eternals, if I remember correctly.
Maybe. I'm not sure how they changed it around. I know when it was first announced, Eternals was supposed to be the second film in phase 2, but it may
Okay,
have gotten shuffled around
well, let me look it up
since.
real quick because I got my iPad on me.
All right. All
So
right.
the okay, yeah,
Yeah, but
it is the second one. So Black Widow comes out November 6th. Eternals comes out February 12th
ooh, okay.
of 2021, and then they're looking at um November. No, okay, so November 6th is when the next one comes out. Um, then the WandaVision's coming in December now, so that's
Oh,
good. We've
that's interesting.
I
Wait, in December of 2021?
doing 2020 this year.
Oh, it's coming in this December?
Yeah, because I guess they're like close to done with it. So that's good. I like that. Let's see. Okay, Shang-Chi comes out May 7th of next year. So yeah, the Eternals is first, then is Shang-Chi.
Sweet.
Um, So the Eternals, I know very little about them. Like I know that there's there's pre-humans, then there's the humans, and then the missing link is like the missing link between humans, mutants, and the Eternals or something like that. No, it's between the Eternals and the humans. I don't really know. The lore is kind of foggy for
Sure,
me.
yeah, like all I really know about them, about what the movie is supposed to be, is it's supposed to be like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but if they're like organized and
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, okay. It's the film will feature introduction of the immortal alien race, the Eternals, who are sent to save Earth against their evil counterparts, the Deviants.
oh wait, so the Eternals will kind of be revolving around the Earth then, and like a
Right.
concept there.
Yeah. It's so
Oh,
it's the big. I think they go back to like really early Earth. Like this is going to take place before
oh, all
everything in the
right,
MCU already has happened. Like this kind
oh,
of
all right, okay,
gives
sweet.
background. I believe they connect. Believe they have a connection to Thanos. I believe like one of them is like the
Interesting.
parent of Thanos or something like
Oh,
that.
huh.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to introduce kind of like the real layout of like how the Marvel kind of started in the or how it says the Earth kind of
Oh
started.
yes.
Um, there are
Oh
a lot of good
yes.
actors in it. Hopefully, it doesn't bomb because you know
Yeah,
how that
yeah,
happens sometimes when you get a bunch of good actors and it just doesn't do well. Um,
yeah.
and it's supposed to like
Oh
kind of tie
yeah.
together the what was that show that was on ABC for a little bit. It went for one season. The Inhumans. It's supposed to tie that into the MCU too, which
Oh
that show
no.
was awful.
No, we need to get as far away from the Inhumans as possible. Like,
Yeah, that
uh,
I watched that show a couple
the,
weeks ago. I watched it in like 2 days. It was like the worst. It was so bad.
I watched the first episode. Okay, I watched most of the first episode. I don't think I could get all the way through it because like
Oh, it
I had such high hopes with like how
right.
Marvel been doing, but that was Marvel TV, not like
Yeah, not yeah. It wasn't Kevin
um
Feige run. It
yeah,
was the
yeah,
Marvel TV, which is good that Kevin Feige's taking over the TV shows going forward.
yeah, yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah,
though
absolutely.
the Netflix shows were really good. I watched those over the break too. I wish they'd tie those into
Yes,
the MCU, but I
yes.
don't think they're going to.
Oh
Though I
yeah,
did,
like
there were rumors that they're supposed to put Daredevil in the next Spider-Man,
I
but that's
want
extreme
Charlie
rumors.
Cox's Daredevil to be in the MCU so bad. I
Me
love
too.
that
That
series
was such a
so
great
much.
show.
It was so good. I just love how he portrayed the character.
Hmm.
All that and like the actor who played Fisk, I don't remember his name. I just
William D'Onofrio.
yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, he was incredible.
he was so good. I
If they bring
like
him back for Spider-Man, he has to play him. He can't. No one else is allowed to play
oh
Fisk
yes, yeah,
anymore.
absolutely.
He was incredible.
And like all of the other actors and actresses who were involved with the show, like the actress who played Karen Page, the actor who played
She was
Foggy
real good.
Nelson.
He was
Yeah,
really good too.
it's like all of them. They just seem so real. It seemed
Hmm.
like these characters were just who they were.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Such a fantastic show.
And
I really hope, yeah,
it's funny to
that gets
watch the
the
Charlie
MCU.
Cox interviews because he's actually British. You would have
Yes.
never known.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
So he was incredible in that show. Karen Page, you said it. You summed it all up. Um, they're not going to bring back the Punisher, but he was also really good in season 2. I never watched the Punisher show. I never got around to it before
That
the free trial ended.
that was a good show. I really did like the Punisher show. It's like
Hmm.
the first season kind of dealt with his backstory a whole lot,
Hmm.
and like it was pretty good. Not one of like my favorite seasons of like all the
The Marvel
Netflix shows,
shows,
but it's
yeah.
definitely up there. But the Punisher season 2, I
Hmm.
absolutely loved. I absolutely loved the Punisher season 2. They really handled a lot of stuff very well with that, and they fleshed out his character a
Hmm.
lot more. But yeah, so I really hope that like the actors who played all those characters in like those shows, except for like Iron
Iron
Fist,
Fist. Yep.
I
He wasn't
never really
good.
liked Iron Fist.
He was not good as
There were some redeeming
Danny Rand.
qualities, but just the whole show of Iron Fist, I just never really could get
Hmm.
into it.
I didn't. I only watched the Defenders. I watched that in like a night because I would. It was really good. I didn't care for his
Yeah, yeah.
character.
Yeah, yeah.
Luke Cage
Oh,
was
and
really good. But he has come out and
yes.
said that he's not going to play Luke Cage anymore,
Oh, huh.
which is unfortunate. And then
Interesting.
Kristen Ritter, I don't know if they've asked her if she'd come back to play Jessica Jones, but
I
I hope
like
she does.
Jessica Jones a lot. Yeah, I like
Mm.
the character.
That
My
first season
favorite
was
Marvel
incredible.
villain, yeah, my favorite Marvel villain of all time is Kilgrave. He
Kilgraves,
was
yeah, he was
fantastic.
awesome.
Out of all the movies, all the TV shows, I like that iteration of Kilgrave so
Hmm.
much. He
And
was
and
so good in that series.
and
Yeah.
Netflix set such a high bar with Kingpin, and then to come right in with Kilgrave being just as good, if not better. He was really really good as Kilgrave, Purple Man. Um, and
Oh
that
yes.
first season was really good. I couldn't get in the second season as much, but back
Yeah.
to
What was this second season?
I don't think there was a villain in the second season. If I'm being honest with you, and of Jessica Jones.
Who? Oh no, I actually do remember that. Yeah, there was a villain, but it wasn't kind of revealed until like. I mean, there was kind of a villain, not not really. There was more of just like a conflict, an
Oh,
overall
okay,
conflict that you don't really find out what it is until like the
the
last
end.
couple of episodes. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then like it was pretty good. It wasn't horrible. I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet and wants to watch it, but it
Right.
definitely is worth the watch. And then
Mm-hmm.
how season three kind of ties it in and resolves some of the conflicts left open at the end of season two.
Mm-hmm.
Overall it was a really good watch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, not sure what's going to happen with those shows. I know that there were a lot of people talking like, oh, after Netflix finishes, Marvel can't use the characters for 2 years, and now the 2 years are over, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's some hope.
Yeah,
But
it'll be
there's
interesting
been no
because
official announcement.
right,
Probably unlikely, but hope so.
and it kind of goes the same way as Deadpool because those shows, if they were movies, would be rated R. Like they were not kid friendly movies. They are
Oh,
not PG
oh yeah,
13
no,
rated
like
movies.
yeah, absolutely. There was
Um.
so much blood,
Oh,
so much
especially
blood
in
in all of those shows.
especially Punisher. You can't bring the Punisher to the MCU, unfortunately.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, technically he's in
oh
the
yeah,
MCU,
oh yeah,
just not in the main Marvel cast, or like the main
yeah.
storylines. Um, we
Yep.
went a little off
Yep.
track there, but so I
Yeah.
guess that could bring
Just a little bit.
what's next after Eternals? I think it's Thor: Love and Thunder, which I'm so glad they're bringing Thor
Oh,
Black.
yeah. That was actually one thing I was going to say about the Eternals. I just forgot about when we kind of went off on a little bit of tangent. But
Tangent,
one
yeah.
thing with yeah, one thing with the Eternals is that I'm not like I don't know if it would be cool or kind of like overdoing it, but if they kind of go into the history of like the Infinity Stones on Earth, so things like the
Yeah,
Tesseract.
yeah,
When you
yeah.
first learned in
How
Captain
it
America, you're
formed.
like, oh, it was left here such
Mhm.
a long time ago. I wonder if it's going to be like tied into the Eternals like that, like oh, it was left there by them,
Well,
or if they're
they
just going to kind of ignore that whole plot thread.
I think I don't remember which episode it was or no, which show it was. I want to say or which movie. I want to say it was Captain America. They talked about how the Tesseract was left. I think Red Skull said it. I think he said the Tesseract was left by the Norse in Norway, left by like the
Oh
Vikings in
yeah,
Norway.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So maybe they'll tie that in somehow, because then that'll be a tie
Yeah,
into Thor as
that's
well.
possible. Yeah, huh.
Um, so actually, that's not the next thing. The next thing is Loki, which comes out in spring. The spring,
Oh, yes,
which is the
yes,
first. I think that's probably also going to tie into the multiverse because that's a separate timeline now, because Loki got away.
yes. Yeah,
So
because if I recall correctly, the Loki iteration it'll like feature around is the one who escaped
in
in the
Endgame.
alternate timeline and like in Endgame. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So
That'll
I'm
be
very excited to see
interesting.
what they do with that. I wonder if it's going to be more
Yeah,
like more stuff on Asgard, or if it's going to be more stuff on just various planets.
yeah.
I'm very interested in that.
I
Tom
yeah, I'm
Hiddleston's just great. So
I'm wondering how they'll handle it because like I mean Loki is a cool character. I like his character a lot, but I like his character the most in like the recent movies after he had this whole arc of like up and down and am I kind of like a
yeah,
good guy
hmm
helping out or am I just trying to like stab people in the back? And now
yeah,
they've kind of undid all of that and he's just back to how he was basically in like the really early movies.
Yeah,
Are
that's
they going
true.
to redo all the character development for him, or are they just going to have him be kind of like the evil dude he was
He might just go through
initially?
like a
Yeah.
different set of character development. Maybe he'll instead of like going through like aha like I'm good, no I'm bad, no I'm good, no I'm bad. Maybe he'll just like I'm bad and it's like maybe
Yeah.
I'm good now actually, and maybe they'll go fetch him in like later Avengers movies, to just like kill whoever or help defeat whoever. Doctor Strange comes out next November, so they're just gonna have like almost a whole year between WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness.
Oh man. So
Which,
yeah, I guess they're kind of abandoning their initial plan then.
right? Actually, let me talk about this for a little bit. Again, more speculation is that the bad guy in Doctor Strange 2 is gonna be Nightmare, which
Okay,
he's
he's
a
not
really
someone that
cool
I've heard
character.
a lot about. All
He has
all right.
I think in season 1 of the Ultimate Spider-Man show, they have like a lot of weird characters in there, like that aren't really
Oh
common.
yeah.
They just kind of explore Nightmare a little bit.
All right.
He's exactly what he sounds like. He's the ruler of the Nightmare realm. Um,
Oh. Oh wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So it because I know they said they wanted to introduce like an element of horror in the movie.
Yeah.
So
Oh
it's yeah.
yeah.
So which would make sense that it
Yes.
would
From
be
what I've heard,
Nightmare in
it's
the Nightmare realm.
yeah. From what I've heard, Multiverse of Madness is kind of supposed to be the MCU's first like horror movie,
Hmm.
but I had heard a later report that the horror aspect was kind of hyped up for the press, but
Oh,
not
okay.
sure how much is going to actually be in the movie.
Hmm.
But but if it is kind of like more of a classic horror film, that would be a really interesting
Like kind of like
direction for the MCU to go, kind of having more
yeah,
genres.
kind of like the old 80s, like late 80s, early 90s, kind of like horror creepiness
Yeah,
factor to it, or
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
70s and 80s. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I'd love
So,
that. That'd be awesome.
oh
Um,
yes,
what if that's I forgot that show's coming. That's coming out next summer, like
yeah,
2021.
yeah,
That's just kind of its own thing. It'll be
yep.
cool because I know that Peggy Carter is supposed to become Captain Britain in that
Yeah,
instead of
yeah, I
Steve Rogers
had
being
heard
Captain
something.
America.
Yeah,
That is,
I heard something about that.
it's basically it's exactly what it is. It's a what if this happened instead of
Yeah,
this.
yeah, it's
Um,
supposed to be animated too, I
yeah.
think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, did you know all the shows have like a $15 million budget or $150 million budget?
Oh wow.
Yeah, and for TV shows. I mean, but it's
Oh
Disney.
man.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like
that's like not even spending as much as they made on Endgame.
yeah. I mean, Disney could spend all of their money and still have money left over. That's how much
Yeah,
money Disney
exactly.
has. Yeah.
Um, I hope with the what if they like dive into like they just like do the entire MCU that they're already done and like just do it with like the different what if scenarios. I
Oh
think that'd be cool.
yes. I would because I would hope that with what if it's actually like kind of scenarios that like fans are actually like wondering about and not just like, oh, this happened in the comic books, let's throw it up in an
Yeah,
animated kind of MCU type thing. It's like I
yeah,
hope it's
like this like
actually
it's like their
stuff
own
like
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Fall 2021 is Hawkeye. Again, I mean, it's just we talked about this earlier. It's Kate Bishop. She's gonna take the mantle of Hawkeye, which opens up something cool, which is the Young Avengers possibility with all the
Yes.
replacements.
Yes.
Um,
Oh yes. Because you already have like Ant-Man's
daughter. Hmm.
daughter who's kind of supposed to fill the role of somebody, and I can't remember who right now, but
And I
there's
don't
some
remember her
hero in
name
the
either.
comics.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
see.
I don't remember her name either. I'm horrible with names in the
Cassie.
MCU, especially with
All I know
how
is
big it is now.
I know her name's Cassie Lang, but I don't remember who she plays
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
or like who like what her I guess alter ego
Um.
is. It is.
Yeah. But with her and I heard some speculation that maybe they might be turning the kid from Iron Man 3 into somebody.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Um, don't know how likely that is, but
Stature. That's who it is. That's
oh,
her name. Um, Actually, if we go back to
interesting.
WandaVerse, the little girl from Captain Marvel is supposed to make her
WandaVision,
appearance. Yeah,
but
WandaVision. What did I say?
yes. Wandaverse.
Oh,
But yes.
I mean, she can do that if she
Uh,
wanted to. She's got the
oh
power. So,
yes.
but yeah. So
Absolutely.
what?
Just
What's her name?
yeah,
Monica
goodbye
Rambeau.
multiverse.
Hello,
Hello
WandaVerse.
Wandaverse. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you get her,
Um,
and then you get Wanda from the Fairly Odd
yeah.
Parents, and then,
Yes.
but yeah, Monica
Um,
Rambeau was supposed to make an appearance in that
yeah.
as well.
Yes.
I forgot. I kind of just I forgot about that. And she's in the
That's
Young
interesting.
Avengers.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think she ends up being Quasar, if I remember correctly. So she
Oh,
might be in the next Captain Marvel. Who knows? There's
interesting.
just they're building up so much in such a
Oh
little
yes.
time, especially
Oh
because of the
yes.
pandemic. Because it was supposed to go from like March to like early 2020, but now it's going like probably September October to like next September October, and then we're gonna have to like
Yeah.
this entire all these new characters. Um,
Yes.
so then
Yes.
in February 2022, we're gonna get Thor: Love and Thunder, and
Yes.
there's less speculation here and more who I want to be in this movie, and that
Okay.
would be obviously we know that Jane Foster, that's her name, is going to be Thor.
Yep.
They've said that,
Yep.
which that has happened in the comics, and
Yes.
apparently she was like really really powerful,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I've heard that.
which is cool.
I don't know how they're going to handle the transition for that in like the MCU, like
Right.
how exactly the movie will go into that. It is like it's one of the things that I kind of wish they just didn't reveal. They waited until the movie happened
Hmm. And
for
then
fans to like to see that.
hmm
Um, yeah. Um, because now I'm like, oh well,
how are they going to do?
I'm 100% sure there's gonna be some other big twist in there that's gonna be like the huge point, but it's like knowing that it's just gonna be kind of a transition film.
Right.
It's like I still am very excited
So
for it, but it's just
what
I
they
wish they
did in the
kept more about it
comics,
secret.
what they did in the comics was like um they so Thor becomes unworthy, but he still like has like a lot of powers. Because I mean, as we saw in Ragnarok, he didn't have his hammer and he was still able to use his powers. Um, what happened was he became like unworthy, but Jane Foster became worthy. But and so he went on his trek
Oh,
just as like Thor Odin's
interesting.
son, and just like went about doing things without his hammer or without his powers and stuff like that. He was still like super strong. He was still like had still good reflexes and stuff like that. So maybe they'll look into that a little bit. And I know, oh God, I can't remember his name now. The other guy who could storm. Well, Stormbreaker actually introduces this character. Um, in a way, in kind of like a, if you know the comics, then you'll understand how this character can get in. Not Stormbreaker. I can't spell.
um, but yeah, I am excited to see what happens in
Beta
that
Ray
movie.
Bill. That's who it
Maybe I'm
is. It's Beta Ray Bill. That's who I want to see in the movie. Oh, you've frozen. Brennan.
like about the universe. Ooh, I do remember him. Yes.
So what did you say? You
Um.
froze for a second. You can go back to say
Oh
that
yeah.
again.
I'm starting to get some pop-ups like your internet connection is unstable, and I'm like, well, hope it lasts for long enough to finish this podcast.
Yeah.
um, but with Jane Foster, with her, like, I'm hoping that she kind of goes back to how she was in like the first movie, where like in the terms of like how she's doing her research, trying to
Hmm.
unlock answers, figure out about space, the stars. Maybe that leads to her being worthy and becoming the new Thor. Like that would be a
Maybe.
cool arc, like
Yeah.
with kind of her quest for knowledge.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, she's just generally like a good person from the first two
yes,
movies,
yes, yeah,
which is good. Um, she just disappeared, so we have no idea where she is. Like even
yeah,
Thor was even in Infinity in Game was like, I used to date her. I don't know where she is, but we used to be a
yes.
thing.
Which I absolutely love that part
Uh huh.
because this is like the thing in comic movies where it's like always the hero and then like the boyfriend or girlfriend of the hero or whatever, and just being
Hmm.
like always there and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
just to see like oh they have their own life. They don't need to just like wait around. I really
Right.
did like that.
Yeah.
'Cause it was just a great bit. So I'm really hoping that like she's like someone who's like done more research, done more learning and stuff now, figure out more answers. And then somehow it ties in to
Mhm.
Asgard. Asgard. She's been to Asgard or the old Asgard before it was destroyed by the lava monster or
Right.
whoever
Right.
that
Right.
was. in Ragnarok.
And then the
But
last
I guess
movie
we'll have to
lists
wait to
here.
see. Yeah.
The last movie list here, which we know nothing about other than the fact that it's happening, whether it's in Phase 4, like the very end of Phase 4 or the beginning of Phase 5, is Blade. We
Yes.
know there's gonna be a Black
Yes.
Panther 2. We know there's gonna be Captain Marvel 2. We know nothing about them. I mean,
Yes.
we know something
And there's a.
about Black Panther. Unfortunately, with Chad Boseman's passing,
Oh yes.
there's something's gonna have to happen there. We'll get into that speculation for Phase 5 in a minute. But have you seen the original Blade movies, like the ones that came out in the early 2000s with Wesley Snipes?
I have not. No.
Me
But
neither.
I've heard good things about them.
Mm-hmm.
I just like I hadn't really heard a whole lot. I actually didn't even really know Blade was a Marvel character because my
Right,
knowledge of Marvel really didn't extend all that far before the MCU. The MCU was like basically before
right,
that. All my knowledge came from like the Spider-Man cartoon TV
right.
shows
So,
and
mm-hmm.
that
Well,
stuff.
and you knew that Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men. Oh, look, Marvel. That's all you knew, right?
Yes, yes, yep, yep. I knew there's a little niche group called the Avengers, and I know a whole lot about
Yeah.
them, but
It's just,
um,
it's funny to me that I didn't know this until not too long ago. Iron Man was like not a main character. Like he was
oh
just
yeah,
there.
oh yeah. Iron Man was nobody at all.
Right.
Yeah, and then when like the movie came out, everyone was like, oh, it's not gonna do
Nope, he's gone.
well. It's just gonna flop. Nobody knows who this is,
Hmm.
and then it literally gave birth to the entire MCU. So,
Right. Yeah.
it's very nice how that worked out.
The,
I'm very excited to see Blade because Blade's not a character that I would have thought of being part of the MCU
mhm.
with because he's like it's something to do with vampires, right?
Vampire
Or am I like
Slayer. Yep.
so far off? He's a
He's a
vampire
vampire
slayer.
slayer.
Okay,
So, which is
okay,
interesting
cool.
because then that starts to introduce like the well, that's another horror movie. I mean, that you could throw in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, sure.
Because Drac. So remember in Captain America how he had his Howling Commandos.
Yes.
So in the comics, Nick Fury has the Howling Commandos. White Nick Fury,
Okay.
obviously. Did you
Oh
know
yes.
Did you know there's a Nick Fury movie in the '90s? Nick Fury, Agent of Shield.
Oh, I did not know.
He's played by David Hasselhoff.
Oh,
It was
huh,
terrible. There's a reason you've
huh.
never heard of it. It was a terrible
Wow,
movie. But
interesting. Oh, I also I believe I heard that either in WandaVision or Doctor Strange or one of the multiverse things, there is supposed to be like a white version of Nick Fury in one of those movies, like
oh,
that's a
okay,
reference back to like the early comic books. I believe so, or maybe it was like the What If series instead,
okay.
like
It's what
one of
something.
the
Yeah.
multiverse type things. Yeah, that he's
What if
supposed to be
Nick
an
Fury
OG.
was
Yeah,
white? And that's the entire premise of the movie
yeah.
of the episode.
Oh my goodness.
It's like nothing changes. He's
Uh,
just white now. Um,
yep.
in the comic books, I think it was like in the '90s. Nick Fury became like a Watcher because he killed the Watcher on like the Earth's Watcher, and then like he was like cursed to stay there and become the Watcher or whatever, which is why
Oh,
we got
okay.
the Black Nick Fury or like Samuel L. Jackson. They modeled the new Nick Fury of
Oh,
the Ultimate
interesting.
Universe based on Samuel L. Jackson so that he would play the part.
Oh, wow.
So like
Huh.
he's part of the Ultimate Universe, which is a whole nother crazy part, whole crazy set of circumstances in MCU and Marvel.
Yes. Marvel's
So
just gigantic.
it's massive. Like
Oh,
I'm
yes.
reading through these comics. I'm like, which is the main storyline?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man, it's yeah.
so now we get to move on to the speculation part. And I
Oh,
want to
now you get to move on to the speculation part. That
well,
was all
more of the
concrete
stuff,
fact before, yeah.
more of the like no, like we're going even more into speculations. Like, okay, this movie should be here because this, or this is why this movie should. Instead of
Sure,
like, here's
yeah.
a structured movie that we know is coming, and here's what we
Yes,
think is going to be in it based on what we know about it already. This is more of like this movie might
absolutely.
happen. Um,
Yes.
so Black Panther, I think that's the
Spider
one we should talk
Ham.
about first. Yes, we need a Spider Ham
Okay.
live
Yes.
action film,
Yes.
and
Live action
only John Mulaney can play
Spider Ham
Spider Ham.
with John Mulaney still is still is Spider Ham. um,
But Black Panther, I think, is where we
yep.
need to start.
Black Panther 2 is one that like is confirmed. They have said they're gonna do it. It wasn't supposed to be
Mhm.
Phase 4. most likely phase 5. Obviously, things like that, things about that movie have changed now.
Yes,
Just,
with the unfortunate
just,
passing of Chadwick Boseman.
yeah, it was such a tragic
Mm-hmm.
passing. Like his battle, for the past 4 years. To think that like almost every
Every movie, every
like
major movie he's been in.
His whole career over these
Yeah.
past 4 years with all of the films, just him going through the struggle
Mm-hmm.
that he went through. I mean,
It didn't even show
just
signs of it
wow.
until like most like recently, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, he kept it hidden so well.
Mm-hmm.
And just and like he and just when like he passed, I am very glad for his family that it was a private affair where it was only
Mm-hmm.
just them, how they were able to announce
Right.
it afterwards. It wasn't like
Instead of like the
TMZ
TMZ.
got in, they leaked
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. And after it, like obviously, there's been a whole lot of speculation about
What's
what's
happening with
gonna
it? Mm-hmm.
happen in Black Panther 2. Um, uh, I mean, there are a lot of people who like don't recast him. Don't be like, oh yeah, this is the same guy from the first movie. See,
Like
it's
they
like,
did with Rhodey and Iron Man 1 and 2.
yeah.
How yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that they don't. I'm really hope like hoping that like with the huge role he played that they don't try to take away from that
Mm-hmm.
by just replacing him with somebody else. I really hope they don't do the thing they did with like Princess Leia in Star Wars and like just CGI
Oh,
him into a
CGI
couple
them in,
scenes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that it's just that like they just take what they have and like they work from there. I've heard a lot of people have been like, oh, like his sister, whose name is slipping my mind
Shuri.
right now. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
how like she should take up like the mantle,
Mm-hmm.
become Black Panther. I
Well, she's
think,
next in line technically for the
yeah,
throne
and
anyway.
and like I think that'd be a cool idea. Not sure how they're gonna handle it. Now that Doctor Doom
Yeah.
was heavily rumored to be, to
The
like
bad guy.
have some kind of a role
Yeah.
in that movie.
So that's what I was going to mention. I was going to bring that up. I think they were going to do that anyway, but the unfortunate passing of this might have changed how they followed the comic book. So in the comic, there's a storyline with Black Panther called Doom War, which is where
Oh yeah.
Doctor Doom tries to go and get the vibranium from, because he's the king of Latveria. So he tries to get uh, the vibranium from Wakanda, and so there's like an invasion, and during that, I think T'Challa gets injured, and Shuri has to take up the mantle of the Black Panther.
Oh, interesting.
You could kind of work his death into it with like a CGI, like him battling with the CGI suit on, instead of like CGIing him in. You just kind of do the Black Panther suit instead,
Hmm.
um, or you could, or they could come make up. It depends on how much they have filmed so far, which I don't know if they have any.
I don't believe they filmed anything.
Okay,
Yeah, because like again, it's not even one that's officially been announced yet. Just
right.
they've said like, "Hey, we're doing this," but there's no like official whatever. So I believe it's still in like in its scripting phase, if it's
Mm-hmm.
even there. But yeah, I'm just yeah, yeah. That's something where it's like the whole future of the MCU is weird because for the longest time it was like Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
Thor, and now they're trying to move away from all of those and kind of have it center more around Spider-Man and
Yeah,
Captain Marvel. Obviously,
which on a completely
Spider-Man,
which on a
like
completely different note, the Justice League has, or like the DC, if you've seen anything that they've been doing the last couple of weeks, they are getting it at the right time, because like the interest in Marvel is kind of at a low right now, and but the Justice League and all the movies that's coming out and all the DC movies that are coming out, the hype is slowly going up, and like what they're doing with the movies, I think it's going to be really really good. Um,
I definitely have seen some stuff for DC, and I do have high hopes for it now. Like
mhm.
they've kind of struggled for a
It was
while,
rocky.
but now maybe they're getting back to it. Like there's a lot of hype around the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah, I'm afraid
I
that like I have a bad feeling about it, but also I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. Like I do feel like the hype may be a little much,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I definitely am hoping that it'll be something worthwhile.
And they got
Um,
James Gunn on the
but
new Suicide Squad movie, so obviously that's
yes,
going to be
yeah, yeah.
great. Because Guardians of the
Oh yeah,
Galaxy,
that's what I'm looking
just
forward to a lot.
that's another
Yes.
one. Like how we were saying, Iron Man was no one. The Guardians of the Galaxy, who the hell is that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Such a small niche group,
Yeah.
and now it's like super mainstream.
Oh yeah. And then
Um,
so you know, but back to Marvel.
yes,
So
Spider-Man.
yeah,
Spider-Man's supposed to be like the new focal point or whatever, but like Sony is not giving
so
Spider-Man up,
Sony sucks for that
and but like
kinda.
but honestly, I'm kind of on Sony's side here because when Disney owns
Oh, I
like
get it.
literally everything, and Sony has like one thing that like is
Just
worth a lot, they're not just gonna,
carry it.
they're not just gonna give that up there.
We will give you
Um,
$7 trillion. Actually, we'd like to hold on.
yes,
This is all
um,
we have. This is our moneymaker. Because what
but
else does Sony do other than the PS4
yeah.
or the
But with,
PS5? I guess.
oh yeah, PS5 and Xbox, whichever number we're on now.
They're in letters now.
Oh, we're in letters. We
The
moved into
Xbox
letters.
X and the Xbox S.
Interesting. But yeah, with Spider-Man supposedly being the focal point of the MCU, and now they're not sure if they're gonna have him. And then with like Black Panther supposed to be a huge character, and there's a lot of change going around there right now. And and Captain Marvel, who like I like a lot, but like
I
her
liked
role
the
in
movie.
yeah, her role in Endgame was very strange. She felt very forced in the
Yeah.
Endgame in a natural way. Um,
Here I am
and
to save the day and destroy Thanos' ship, even though you could have used me long ago.
yeah, she did. I was hoping she would be like a more central part of the movie, like one of the groups that like time travels somewhere, but they brought her in and then ignored her until the very end of the movie. And
Like
it's
she
like,
should have been the one to snap.
why did the writers? Yeah, it's such a weird thing where there was like so much fan service in the movie, but then not a whole lot of fan service for going forward. So it's like it's not enough building blocks there, I think. But it's like I'm not sure what's going to happen in the future of the MCU now with all that. I'm holding out hope for Spider-Man 3. We at least get like Charlie
Cox.
Cox's Daredevil in there. That would be so perfect. But
Oh yeah. Well, then there'd be another battle with Sony and Marvel again about about Daredevil character. Um, but if they could do that and work in Wilson Fisk or something like that,
oh yeah, it would be so great. Everything I've seen about Daredevil being in the MCU is like exclusively speculation, like no concrete facts to back it up at all. But
not one.
I am looking forward to that. So there's that. There's Captain Marvel 2, which is one of the
I don't even know what
potential.
they're gonna do with that. If I'm being completely honest with you, it could have to do with
The,
something with like Secret Invasion or something like with the Kree.
the whole thing with like at the post credits scene of the last Spider-Man film, how like Nick Fury was like in space, and it's like what's going
He was
on?
replaced with a Kree soldier, yeah,
Oh yeah,
or Kree someone.
yeah, like that. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but like, where is this going? Because it's like sort of an interesting point that I was talking to recently, and it's like Marvel always used to have these really cool like post credit scene would be a fun joke or a gag, and now it's almost exclusively teasers for future movies, which
They have to now because that's what
it's
like.
but it's like, come on, it's like have faith in your audience that like they're gonna stick around. They've stuck around for like 12 years. It's like
Right.
they're gonna keep coming back. Just give them some fun gags, not like, oh, come pay like $15 the next time we release a film to come here on opening night.
And I like how at the end it's just like at the end of every movie it's like this character will return. Like yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah. But and then the other thing, what was the actually,
I think that's
what
all
other
like
movies are there? I
I think that's
think it's
all the
kind of
rumored movies that are like all the movies that
yeah.
they say they've come out and said we're doing this. Now is where we get to be like, all right, Fantastic Four and X-Men. How are we gonna do this?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, Fantastic Four.
I saw what, and they're gonna introduce, or they might introduce Doctor Doom through, um, Black Panther, which is cool because I don't think they should introduce him with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I'm really hoping I like because I don't think we've ever had a good Fantastic Four like movie.
No,
I don't
I
think.
mean the ones
Yeah.
from the early 2000s are good because they're nostalgic. But
Yes.
looking at
Yes.
them at the actual like in like the terms of the comics and then in terms of the
Oh yeah.
actual quality movies, they're not good.
Oh yeah.
Especially Silver Surfer.
Um.
That one was really confusing.
Yeah. So I'm definitely hoping they do something good with that, especially because it's just exclusively speculation, but
Oh
apparently
yeah,
like Galactus, who I know the Fantastic Four have fought
It's supposed to be the
in
big.
like whatever movie, is supposed to be like the big bad in like
Mhm.
this next wave of, and this next like arc of films.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
so
I think the
maybe,
next
hopefully, but
I think
I
the
don't know
next
how they're gonna.
Avengers film could be Secret Invasion, like leading up to the Galactus thing, which
Yeah.
is where like they did this really well in like the first Avengers show they did in the early 2000s or like the early 2010s. Basically what it is like the Kree or no, not the Kree. Who are the other ones? The
The
shapeshifters. The
scrolls?
Skrulls.
Is it
Yeah,
scrolls?
the
Okay.
Skrulls. So the Secret Invasion is like the Skrulls are just like slowly taking over Shield, the Avengers. Like they just replace themselves inside, and like they capture the original
Yes.
ones. So maybe that's what Captain Marvel is going to work up to, and then Phase 5 at the end of it, we'll have like an Avengers Secret Invasion movie, which will lead
See,
up eventually um, to Galactus. But
and I would much rather have that be like that be the primary arc instead of like Galactus and
Galactus,
stuff, because it's like, how is Spider-Man supposed to fight like Galactus, this giant planet-eating being? It's like
he's going to be
it seems like way too
yeah.
cosmic.
What
Yeah.
they can give him the power cosmic because there is a version of Spider-Man called the Cosmic Spider-Man where
Of course there is. Oh my
he gets the
goodness.
power cosmic. He actually has like a really cool suit if you look it up.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. All right.
they could do that and make Spider-Man way OP. I don't think they should, but you're right. Like he's a giant Earth or he's a giant world-eating beast. Like how are you gonna
Yeah.
have the moving forward? Like who is it? Black Panther, Kate Bishop, Ant-Man or Cassie Lang, Captain Marvel. How are
Yeah.
you gonna have them like fight them? Like it makes no
Oh
sense.
wow! I just looked up the Spider-Man cosmic suit, and
It's cool, right?
wow, this is something like unusual. If
I don't.
anyone's like if like listening here, just go and like look up Cosmic Spider, and this like it barely looks like Spider-Man. Like there's just the little like around his mouth, there's a little like Spider-Man thing,
Yeah,
and then he's just like this like
it's
glowing
like white, this
thing.
glowing
It's
white
really
suit.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's definitely an interesting character, and he's way OP. Like he has like he can read minds from across the universe,
Oh
across
wow.
the known universe. Yeah,
Who
it's
needs that power? Who needs like, oh yeah, hold on, I need to read someone's mind like on the other side of the galaxy.
I don't know.
Oh wow.
Um, but yeah, no, you're right. Secret Invasion would definitely be a better overall storyline for the
Oh
next
yeah.
3 phases or 4 phases, however long they feel like dragging this out. I
Yeah.
definitely don't think it's going to take 10 years like the last one. I feel it'll maybe do like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it'll
Especially with how
definitely.
fast they're doing Phase 4, it's going to take like a year,
Oh yeah.
like a year and a half.
How yeah, it's so condensed where
Mm-hmm.
like there's like 3 movies or like, a movie and 2 TV shows like
Every month.
every
Yeah.
year. Yeah. So it's yeah, we'll see how it
Um,
ends up turning out.
so and now to the X-Men. What? One more note on the Fantastic Four. If they're not going to introduce Doom with them, do they still is Doom still their first enemy? Like, is that who they battle first in the movie? Because I mean, you know how Marvel likes to kill people off.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know a whole lot about the Fantastic Four villains or anything like that. I
Me
don't know
neither, to
who
be
they could
honest.
fight. I pretty much only know information about them from like the horrible movies that they had, and that's kind of it. Which I
Yeah, I know they have Galactus, and I guess they have Annihilus, but that's like a whole nother event within itself.
oh yeah. See, so what they should just do
That's
is have
that's the first two that come up when you look at Fantastic Four villains: Galactus, Annihilus, and Doctor Doom.
great. Yeah, here's all they have to do is they just have to have their first villain, their first ever villain, their origin story be like be Galactus, and they just like kill Galactus,
In the
and
first
then
one,
yeah, problem solved.
they have Ego the Living Planet, who's already dead. So
Great.
they have
Um.
they have Kang the Conqueror, which is also another whole thing within itself.
Oh
They could
yeah.
use Hyperstorm because that doesn't sound too difficult, right?
Interesting.
Hyperstorm. Oh, he's a mutant, so yeah, you could definitely do that.
Um. And as for the like the X-Men and
The
stuff,
X Men.
I know like they're planning to bring it in somehow, but I I really don't know how unless it's like the multiverse thing.
Actually,
Does it?
I saw something earlier that was like a like this guy. He's like this on TikTok. He, I've gotten myself into Marvel and Star Wars TikTok solely, which is great
Oh yeah.
because
Oh
all I
yeah.
get is Marvel and Star Wars stuff, and it's quite fun. But this guy was like, "Here's how you bring the X-Men into the MCU." So apparently, originally the X-Men are teenagers. So what you do is at the begin, like when Thanos does the snap, they're all like 10, 11, 12 years old, and what the people some of the mutants who disappear. So some of the mutants will disappear because they're already at Xavier's school, and one of the mutants that disappears is Magneto. So that you have like your core group of X-Men. So like when after those 5 years, they have their powers. They've been learning how to control them. They're older now, and they they've kind of settled like, oh, we're like the peaceful mutants, and then you bring in. And then when the snap happens again, and you bring back the people who left, I guess you couldn't really do it completely because there's like an age difference there with Magneto and the rest of the mutants if they're all still 10, 11, and 12. But so what happens is like they blame the humans or whatever for doing that to them, and then that's how they become evil, and that's how they get the Brotherhood of the
Interesting.
Evil Mutant Brotherhood of Mutants. I think that's a solid idea.
See, the only issue that I have with that is like, where were they during like where was Xavier's school? Where was any you mention of that during like the pre-snap time with like all the movies there? Because you would
They're
think with
children.
but
I
like
guess
with I
not.
mean
Yeah, I guess not
yeah
Xavier.
yeah if like
Xavier Magneto
Xavier's
would be there.
school was like a thing, then you think there would be some
The
mention of it when
mutants,
they're
right?
talking about like Civil War and like they're registering all the heroes or people with powers or some more like outrage about that. So like it
That's an entire
could
different
work,
act in the
but
in the comics. It's an entirely different thing. They kind of did it in the X-Men movie, like the first one was the Mutant Registration Act. So like that's kind of like a whole different thing. I guess you
yeah,
could
yeah.
maybe do something like that.
Which is why I'm thinking
Um,
like the only way I could see it working, and I don't know a whole lot about the X-Men, so maybe there's a different way, but just an uneducated perspective here. Like I think with like the multiverse is just the easiest way. But if there is some,
bring back Hugh Jackman.
and
I
like
can't see anyone else playing Wolverine if I'm being completely honst.
yeah, and like
He's so good.
yeah,
Except he's
yeah, I
dead now.
definitely
He's
understand
Logan.
that.
Logan's dead.
Yep. But like not even like exactly like the multiverse with like the with like
Mm-hmm.
the movies that already exist, but just the multiverse, and you bring in just like a new generation of like X-Men from the multiverse.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it would kind of open some things up there.
Yeah, that's what I thought about too. You just kind of bring the X-Men from the
Yeah, be like,
multiverse
hey, this is why these guys haven't been around because they're in a
because
different
they're in a
world, but
different world,
now they're
right?
here. So yeah.
Well, and technically, because of the events of Days of Future Past and the original X-Men, not trilogy, but the original X-Men, which that movie
Yeah.
was amazing. I love that movie. Days of Future Past is that they already kind of have like a second multiverse, like they've already explored that
Oh, okay.
multiverse, so you
Yeah.
could technically bring all those guys over
Wow.
and be like, hey, here's the
Oh man.
mutants. To
Yeah. Yeah.
except we completely forget, except bringing them before Apocalypse because that movie was terrible.
So if I'm correct, I think we're a little above the hour mark now.
We are at 10:36. We've
Um.
done lots of speculation and we've
Oh
done lots of
yes.
guessing, and we've introduced all the characters I think that most people care about.
Yes.
So if you want to cut this
Absolutely.
off here, which we originally said at half an hour,
Yes, yeah, yeah. I was
but
even like, let's just aim for half an hour, that way, apparently we have a lot to talk about.
oh yeah, of course.
But just let's just throw in a couple of final thoughts here to officially kind of wrap this thing up. One thing that I wanted to add when we were talking like, oh, let's talk about Marvel. One thing I was like, okay, I have to talk about this because I absolutely hate this.
Sure.
Is the post-credit scene of Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange like movie
Oh
where like
yeah, with Thor
it's
and
it's
Loki.
it's like it's like so forgettable almost. No, not with Thor. The other one because there were two of them. That was the first one. There was like a end one, and it was
Oh
like the
yeah,
dumbest
where he
thing
went and
I think
killed.
when like there's overall plan when like yeah when there's like that when the sorcerer who's like I was a good guy but I'm bad now and I'm stealing your powers and killing you or whatever. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that
do that
didn't
and then
make
there to
any
be
sense.
no resolution for years and it's like now the snap has happened and everything and Doctor it's like there doesn't seem to be anything going on with that. So why even make them a villain when like kind of there's an overall plan here? Just
Maybe
it didn't make sense to me then. And I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna do something, and they just never did it. And I
maybe that'll
hated
be like
that.
something
That's
with the
my least
Nightmare
favorite
Realm,
scene. Yeah.
maybe they'll like introduce a Nightmare Realm with him or something. Like he'd be like, I like you know how like in the first movie the bad guys were like, we serve Dormammu. Maybe he could be like, I
Yeah.
serve Nightmare. It's like, hold on,
Yeah,
you did this already.
yeah, like they completely redo the first Doctor Strange movie, like beat for beat.
Except
But yes,
with slight
so
horror.
yes. Yeah, so that was just one thing with Marvel. I guess I should do like my favorite post credit scene now, so it's not just me like bashing on that one there. I liked the one I think in the end of the first Spider-Man movie where it was like Captain America, like he was it was like him going through like
Oh yeah,
recordings of all those like school
yeah.
things, and it was like,
In
and it was
so, the one where he like turns the chair around. So you got detention.
yes, yeah, it was like yeah, all this that was so good, especially because it tied, it made it feel like more of a closed like a closer universe where things are more like related. It's
Well,
like if that happened in real life, you absolutely know schools would do that, and it's
oh,
so funny.
100%. Like,
Yeah,
and that goes off what you said earlier about how like all the end credit scenes have to tie everything together, whereas this one was just like
it was
funny.
just a gag. It was
Yeah.
exclusively a gag, and I love that so much. So I hope there are more of those, less teasers, especially when you don't know if they're going to build up to anything, and more like gags like that. That's good.
No
That's what
more
I like.
random, no more randomly killing people who've recovered from being paralyzed below the legs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because like the poor character, he had like one movie where he was like, "Yeah, my legs work," and then all of a sudden, at like the end, just
It's
nope.
like it's a miracle. No, it's gone. All that work for
Yeah.
nothing.
Oh, and also just like the fact that like out of anyone the sorcerer could have gone to, I know it might have been implied he went to other people, but just the fact that he came to the one guy
That we
that
knew that.
Stephen Strange talked to, it's like, come on.
Yeah. It's like,
Um.
and then that was it. Like we'd never heard about that guy again.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he's just gone.
did you see? Oh, this. I guess this is kind of on top. It's obviously Marvel, and it's a little bit on topic, and it's much more speculation. Apparently,
Okay.
the Russo brothers said that they stuck. Do you know who Nova is from the Nova Corps?
Yes.
Apparently,
Yes.
they stuck him in to Endgame, like into the into the main battle
Oh
scene.
yeah.
Like
Huh.
he's just in there. It's like you would never know unless you like looked for him specifically. So like there could be something there with because
Yeah.
I really want to. He's my favorite character in the
Oh
comics. I
sweet.
love Nova.
Okay.
So if they could like find a way to put him in there somehow and like kind of tie all like the 5 years together, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's a good place to wrap up in about an hour, 11 minutes.
Cool. Yep.
All right,
So
guys.
sounds
So
good
don't
to
forget
me.
to subscribe to my channel and Brennan's channel. Link will
Oh
be in the
yes.
description.
Yes. To not
Um,
Brennan's channel.
that's right. To not
Yep.
Brennan's channel.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, so I think that's a good end to our first podcast. I think we're gonna do these
Yep.
bi-weekly. We'll have a completely different topic to talk about next time. Unless more Marvel,
Yes.
obviously at the top, if there's more Marvel news, we'll address it. Other than that, I think that's about it. So
Oh
I'll see you
yes.
guys on the
No.
next
Yeah.
one.
Make sure to tune in. Oh wait, my notes going on again. Probably.
Yeah, you're frozen on the screen, but since it's only audio, it
Okay.
doesn't really matter
Okay.
that
There we go.
much.
Okay, I believe it's back. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I don't want there to be any audio lag. But yeah, come back 2 weeks from now where we change topics completely, and we'll be talking about Marvel TV shows on ABC.